is,
I used to
in
have it
my
on
opinion,
Criterion.
Until
Gave it back.
after you let somebody borrow a movie for like 5 months, and they're just like, "No, I haven't seen it yet." I'm like, just give it back. I'm offended now. Welcome to CiNEMACHiNE. I'm Al, and this week we have Brandon. How you doing this week?
I'm all right, I guess.
And apparently we have Deadpool, or how's it going? Oh, it's
It's me.
Ryan. Oh, it's
It's me,
Ryan.
yeah.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
it's just
Yeah.
yeah. You took the Halloween thing seriously, huh?
Oh, so that text was a joke then.
Yeah, we didn't, we can't understand anything you're saying, but
All right, I'm gonna pull this off so I can breathe.
okay, that'd be good. This week we are going to be reviewing the winner of the vote, but first and foremost, we want to make sure everybody knows how to get in touch with us. So, Ryan, now that you can speak, would you like to tell everybody how they can get
Hey,
in touch
Ryan.
with us?
Hey. Yeah, at CiNEMAChiNE Pod on social. And if you're watching on YouTube, just drop your comments in the comments, or you'll see votes later.
All right, fantastic. So this week I am the victor. Everybody, yeah.
Victor! Victor!
This week we also have a special show. We're going to be talking about Halloween movies, not the series Halloween, not necessarily. I don't know if anybody's going to be talking about that series, but we're just going to be suggesting Halloween movies in the wrap-up after we talk about this week's winner, The Thing. That's right, folks. Finally, we're talking about John Carpenter even more on CiNEMAChiNE. I'm pretty excited. June 25th, 1982 is when The Thing was originally released in theaters. It had a budget of $15 million and a box office of only $19.6 million, different times. In remote Antarctica, a group of American research scientists are disturbed at their base camp by a helicopter shooting at a sled dog. When they take in the dog, it brutally attacks both human beings and canines in the camp, and they discover that the beast can assume the shape of its victims. A resourceful helicopter pilot, played by one and only Kurt Russell, and camp doctor, played by Richard Dysart, led the camp crew in a desperate, gory battle against the vicious creature before it. Picks them all off one by one. Wow. I'm excited. And it's not just the AirPods talking. As everybody knows, I love the movie They Live. And I won't say I'm like an uber fan of John Carpenter, but I think it's going that way. So, first and foremost, let's get your initial thoughts. This is no spoilers or anything like that. So, just for right now, Brandon, what were your initial thoughts of The Thing?
Well, I watched this for the first time last night.
Yeah.
I knew nothing about this movie.
Oh, really?
Besides, I'd seen the cover art. I mean, I knew it was set in like the Antarctica.
Okay.
I knew Kurt Russell was in it, so I guess I knew a little bit.
Okay.
But next to nothing.
Right.
I watched it with my wife. Convinced her to watch it with me.
Oh, wow.
'cause,
Okay.
you know, we didn't have any time to really watch much this weekend, two of us. So I was like, hey, I got to watch this. So you want to come play on your phone?
Yeah.
Let's see. I thought it was fine. It was, it was good. I mean, it wasn't bad, but it wasn't like. Here's the thing, Al, and I know that we're gonna get into this later.
Yeah.
But
Oh, yeah, I'm
these
excited
types
for
of
it.
movies, for people that didn't grow up seeing them, that have seen other movies, we've said this a million times. Maybe not on this podcast. Maybe on a podcast that we never released. But they just don't hold the same sentimentality, or I don't know, they're just not as impactful watching them as, you know, a 35-year-old having seen tons of movies that have gone on and taken what they kind of laid the groundwork for and kind of embellished upon it. But I will say that I really appreciated and thought that the practical effects were really well done.
Yeah.
And I mean, especially for that time period, there was a few things that were like, you know, but again, looking, as Ryan likes to say, looking through the lens of an old movie, I thought it was solid. I mean, it's campy at times, and the acting is kind of hit or miss, but probably in keeping with what they were going for, and definitely, you know, what those types of movies were during that era. So yeah, I mean, that's all I got to say right now.
All right. And Ryan?
The first thing I'll say is I don't know how you can't have a man crush on Kurt Russell after watching this movie.
Dude's
He's
a good actor, yeah.
Or
Yeah.
He owns the screen.
Yes, he does.
The whole time I was watching it, I just like thought, Wyatt
wish I
Russell
had
looks
hair.
exactly like him.
He does. Yeah, there are a couple moments where I was like, oh my gosh.
Like after watching like Ingrid Goes West not too long ago,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah,
just being
his-
like spitting image. Like
there's
Kurt
no denying that's his son.
Well, yeah, almost like Kurt Russell.
It's whenever he puts he's got the big jacket on and you just see his face.
Yeah.
It's like you could flip him out, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference.
Yeah, it's like he had like immaculate conception with himself or something to have this kid, because he looks just him. That's it.
And then the second thing I'll say is I watched this movie a long time ago.
Mhm.
And going into it, I just didn't remember much about it. But as I was watching it, I realized how much I did remember. Like just cute things in my head as the movie was going on. It is super campy for sure. But I can appreciate. I love Halloween. I saw a lot of the same kind of. Just the way it was shot, like the empty shots down the hallways and that kind of thing. He does a great job of building suspense. But overall, I enjoyed it. And like you said, the practical effects were pretty awesome for the time period.
Yeah. So, just a little background on this movie. This movie bombed terribly when it first came out. Okay. 2 weeks before this movie came out, in June 25th of 1982, yes.
Can I answer it? Because I know this trivia.
Yeah, go ahead.
E.T.
Yeah. So E.T. came out 2 weeks before.
10
What do I-
points
what do I
to
get?
Gryffindor.
What do you get? I'll buy you your favorite candy bar.
Al's gonna lobby for your movie this week.
I am wanting Brandon to win, so everybody pay attention to the end of this. And so, yeah. But also that same month, let's just talk about some of the movies that came out. Poltergeist came out the week before E.T. Tootsie. Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan. Unfortunately, Grease 2 came out. Annie came out the week before, in between this. The same day. No, I'm sorry. The week before, also Secret of NIMH, which was really big back in the 80s. And then on the same day that The Thing came out, do you know what movie came out?
Blade Runner.
Yep. Ding, ding, ding. Blade Runner. So this movie had a lot going against it. This movie bombed, and
As did
was
Blade Runner.
yes, Blade Runner bombed too, as did 2049. And it had terrible reviews, called pointless, and I mean, just Roger Ebert. I don't know if he liked any movies in the 80s. I've never heard a good review from him. But he reviewed it poorly. He what did he say? Let's see here. He said Thing is basically just a geek show, a gross out movie in which teenagers can dare one another to watch the screen. There's nothing wrong with that. I like being scared, and I was scared by many scenes in The Thing. But it seems clear that Carpenter made his choice early on to concentrate on special effects and technology and to allow the story and people to become secondary. So that was Roger Ebert. May he rest in peace. But the reviews don't get any better from there. And there is a train of thought that a lot of people were, oh, E.T. came out, it was cute, cuddly, biggest blockbuster of all time, the number one movie of all time at that point as far as box office goes. And people were like, oh, I'm going to go see this other thing, no pun intended, that could be like a more adult version of E.T., and it just was not that. John Carpenter has never been one to like kind of go with the flow. Like Halloween 3, for instance, when he came back and made Halloween 3, he was like, no Michael Myers, we don't need him. He was like, nope, we don't need that. And that tanked horribly. And yeah, so it took the main character out of the series of movies. So, but I do appreciate his craftsmanship and things of that nature. As I spoke about a few episodes ago when I talked about They Live, he was one to write his scores and things like that. Now, in this, he did not technically write the score. Do you know who wrote the score for The Thing?
It's like Inicio Well, I don't know how to say his name.
Morricone. So the movie,
the guy that did Hateful Eight.
Yeah. So actually, well, so it's funny you say that.
I know
because
what you're about to say. We read the same trivia.
I didn't read the trivia. I just I didn't read trivia. I just like this. So this is stuff I've known for a bunch of years about this particular movie. He went in and he tampered with Morricone's kind of finished product. And so there was a lot of leftover music, and that music was then, decades later, just a few years ago, was used by Quentin Tarantino in The Hateful Eight. So I do feel, as much as I like this movie, as much as I do think this movie is pretty much a masterpiece of John Carpenter, I do think that the score was out of place in a lot of scenes. And I do think it fit better with The Hateful Eight, oddly enough. So it's very weird because it's so good in The Hateful Eight. But if you put them side by side, you can tell they were written for the same movie. So, but no, this movie was very much so hated. And then in 1992, when it was released on home video and as a TV movie kind of thing, that's when it started gaining steam. So similar to It's a Wonderful Life, that movie tanked.
I'm just looking at Brandon's face.
What? You don't want trivia? You don't want facts? You don't want facts? So anyway.
More facts, please.
I'm almost finished with my diatribe here. So anyway, this movie started gaining steam. And it's funny that Brandon says that people that grew up with these kind of movies and stuff like that, and the whole nostalgia versus non-nostalgia argument. Because people that don't have nostalgia for these kinds of movies, newer audiences now, are still picking this movie up and calling it, like younger people are still calling it a masterpiece and calling it like
they're younger people, they're growing up with it.
Yeah.
No. I'm talking about younger people now. I'm talking about people are still picking this.
Just because
they're younger.
Yeah.
This is their first exposure. Like they.
But you said that grew up with those kinds of movies.
We're not saying just because it released theatrically at a certain time.
You're saying because it's not digital versus
like Jaws. I wasn't alive when Jaws came out, but I watched it when I was young, and so
yeah.
like it was like the first thing like that I had seen, so I had seen nothing like that before.
I'm not talking about
so it made an
8-year-olds. I'm
impression
talking about
on me.
20-something-year-olds watching this.
You said
talking
kids.
about- They're kids to me, for crying out loud. So anyway, youngsters, old.
Hipsters, I think you meant to say.
Hey, send me that case study, Al.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm about to read you some of the reviews
We'll include
as
in
of
the show
late.
notes.
As of late. So those reviews from back in the day were, I mean, if you go back and read the reviews from 1982, they're awful. And I can see why. Things were totally different. But yeah, I mean, I'm reading reviews right now from 2015, 2002, 2005.
What's your review?
My review? This movie's fantastic. It does have like some of the practical effects. They look really good and they're well designed. But they, it's not a perfect movie. I do prefer They Live over this, but I do
Who
think this
doesn't?
movie, huh?
We know. We know.
But no, I still think this movie's really well done. I think the cinematography was really well done. I think the tension in this movie was superb.
When you say cinematography, like what's an example for this one?
Just some of the shots that they had, like trying to think of a specific shot, but just the way that they would have everybody in the same room and be looking over and the lighting and everything. It was just fantastic.
Yeah.
It was very well done.
Cameras. It's good.
I'm just looking at Brandon's face again.
This movie was, I thought that the technical aspects of this movie were really well done. And there were some matte paintings in this movie, you could tell, things of that nature.
Yeah,
I'm not saying you can't see the seams of this movie.
Those were like glaring.
Yeah.
You can see the brush strokes.
Yeah.
You can definitely see the seams of this movie, but it really has nothing to do with nostalgia versus non-nostalgia. It just has to do with it's a good movie.
Sure.
And it has a good story, although it is a remake.
I guess all right, my opinion is just voided then. Gosh.
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying yours is. I'm just saying that's my opinion. And I'm just saying that there are people that come up that
I wasn't making the background comment to comment on the nostalgia of it. I was just saying that was something that was really obvious to me when I was watching.
Yeah. No, I mean, hey, I understand that things pop and click a lot more nowadays, and but so they did remake this in 2011, and I mean, hey, the 1982 is a remake of The Thing from Outer Space. So I mean, The Creature from Outer Space. So I mean, it's just it's understandable. So it's gonna obviously it's gonna look a little more realistic over time. The 2011 version, however, looks awful. The special effects and everything look the same grade as like a Resident Evil. If that puts it into perspective for you. But anyway, so let's talk about
My
the
complaints
cast.
aren't with the like. It's not that if they use matte paintings or they have outdated special effects. It's just it wasn't scary. It wasn't. I mean, I was never like tense. Like it just. I mean, it just didn't hit me like I'm sure maybe it did for you guys if you saw it and you've been watching this and you've had time to.
Al, when you watch this movie, what do you like?
Like when I watch
what's
it
your
now?
takeaway from it?
Is that what you're saying? Want to watch it now? Or when I watched it for the
I guess
first time?
when you watched it originally and watch it now, like what's your takeaway from it? Is it like this is like a supremely crafted movie, like, or is it like a campy fun thing?
I think both. I will say both. Yeah, it is campy. If anybody tries to argue that John Carpenter movies are not campy, then they're missing what John Carpenter is. John Carpenter is campy, and it's
Halloween doesn't seem campy to me.
But see, Halloween's not scary at all to me. I mean, he's just a guy standing around a lot, and then a lot of cutaways from him stabbing people. You know what I mean? He's just standing around. He's just like, oh, he's over by that clothesline.
Right,
I'm
but like,
I'm not saying it's
it may
not
be
good.
scary to certain people versus others. I'm just saying, like, I would not compare the tone of this to the tone.
No,
of
and you
Halloween.
can't. I mean, I'm just pulling that up because I'm not saying it's not a good movie. Halloween's a good movie. I think it's well crafted. But I think that this movie, and John Carpenter even says this is his favorite movie that he's ever made. So this is one that holds true to his heart. So there's a lot more love in it. I don't know. Or maybe because he had to fight for everything because this movie got such bad ratings and bad reviews. But no, I personally, is this one of my top 5 movies of all time? No, it's not. But do I think that this movie is better than I don't think this movie's scary, Brandon, to your point. I don't think this movie's scary at all. And that's what I was saying about Halloween. I don't think that movie's scary either. But that doesn't, the tension's there and things of that nature. I thought the way that they kept you so for instance, in the beginning of the movie, so we're going to go into spoilers, full on spoilers, blah, blah, blah.
So to clarify though, I'm not saying that you're wrong. Like you're wrong with what you're talking about with the thing being campy. I'm just saying that I like when you say John Carpenter. Like if people don't understand that John Carpenter's being campy in his movies, they don't get John Carpenter. I feel like I do get John Carpenter when I watch Halloween, and it doesn't feel like.
Well,
campy.
I'm just saying that he is a campy director. And that's kind of his style. You know, not like he goes out and tries to be campy, but a lot of his stuff ends up being campy and
Gotcha.
overtly art school to some degree. Yeah, he did a lot of stuff before anybody else did it. Now, hey, there are people that hate John Carpenter movies, and that's perfectly fine. So I don't think any of us have any leeway to say that one or the other's opinion of this movie is null and void, because that's not what we're trying to do here. But what I am saying is that this movie, yeah, okay, so a lot of people look at the Beatles, and I don't like the Beatles, but a lot of people say, well, you got to respect what the Beatles did for all these other bands. You wouldn't have this band, that band without the Beatles. I'm not making that argument for John Carpenter. All I'm saying is I think this movie holds up as a good movie today, and I would put it up against a lot of other movies. Do I think it's a horror movie? Do I think it's terribly scary? Absolutely not. But I think it is well crafted, and I do think the tension is there, and I think that, well, Brandon, I'll ask you. I think they did a good job of keeping you guessing of who was infected, so to speak. Did you feel that way? Did you know who was infected the whole movie?
No, I didn't know. But I don't know how you would have known. I mean,
Right, and that's what I'm saying. They kept that a secret pretty well. That's what I like about this movie. They don't play their hand. As a matter of fact, in the beginning of the movie, when the dog goes into the room and you see the silhouette of the man on the bed.
Sure.
Okay. That was supposed to be the Wilford Brimley character, but John Carpenter didn't want to play his cards, so he hired an actor just for that silhouette scene, just so you couldn't tell who it was.
Yeah,
and so,
too.
Huh?
I read that last night.
Yeah. So I think that right there is pretty gutsy to do, you know. That could make an audience mad. Like, that doesn't look anything like Wilford Brimley, because that's who it was supposed to be in that room, you know.
I was thinking that when I was watching.
Yeah.
Just kidding, I wasn't.
But no, I'm just saying, like, he goes above and beyond to do good storytelling. So that's what I appreciate. It's not always about, like, I can look past like I've said it before to you guys. I don't know if I've said it on the show, but I can look past if it has a good story, has good acting, has good direction, things of that nature. I can look past some bad special effects or some campy special effects or whatever. However, I can't look at good special effects and think it's a good movie without it having good story, good direction, good acting.
I mean, we've talked about that.
I think we all agree with you on that, even though you probably would say that we don't.
No, I'm not fighting for that against you guys. I'm just saying that that's the way I look at it. So anyway,
love you, Zach.
If you guys don't like a movie, you don't like a movie. That's all there is to it. That's the way I look at it. But my point is, at least you watch the movie to have that opinion versus saying I'm not going to like that movie, so I'm not going to watch that movie. That's my point.
Well, and again, maybe I need to clarify this more. I did say that the movie was solid. I didn't say it was a bad movie, but to me, it's just dated. And
it's dated. It's dated.
And it doesn't work. Like, for me coming into it, again, having watched so many movies that have the art of movie making has changed and been refined over and over and over again, and directors have learned how to make movies tighter, have learned how to make movies tenser, work with the structure, make them flow better. Music has definitely become a very big proponent of movies and creating an additional type feelings that the audience is supposed to kind of go along with in the movie. And so, like, I just feel like, and then acting as well. This is a very campy acted movie, and so it's very exaggerated, and it's like it's just not my cup of tea. So, but it's still a fine movie. It's not like anything that I would return to ever.
No, I don't expect you to.
You're a big Tremors fan, aren't you?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that movie. Special edition comes out in December.
This fits into the same. Like, this feels like Tremors to me when I watch it.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. What's funny though, I like Tremors, but I watched it as a kid. I liked it. Like, it was like the first type I don't know, creature feature type movie that I saw when I was a kid, and one of the first. Mm-hmm. And so I didn't see the sequels. Well, no, I did see the second sequel when they had the little ones running around.
I think they're up to like 7 or 8 now. It's ridiculous.
Jeez.
Yeah, they just released a new one a couple weeks ago, actually.
Yeah, I saw that.
So, Brandon, to your point, I by no means think that you're going to become a John Carpenter fan overnight, or do I think that watching a couple more of his movies will turn you into a John Carpenter fan? I don't think that. And I don't think you're saying this movie's hogwash or anything like that. But I think personally that the tension was built very nicely in this movie. I like these types of movies better than, like, I don't even like to call this a horror movie because that gives the indication that it's scary, and it's not. I don't know that I would have been scared of this if I were of age and able to see this in 1982, But
well, when did you see it?
In the late 90s, early 2000s.
I just have to imagine that when this came out, it was like the first of its kind in terms of these types of special effects. I mean, I know Alien came out before this, but this was much more
gruesome,
just abstract, yeah.
There's
a humanoid element to it.
Yeah. And I mean, there's a lot of things in this movie that people still use as inspiration today. I mean, you can see the Stranger Things inspiration in after the dog dies, the flower mouth comes out. Yeah. That's made out of thousands of dog tongues, not real dog tongues, but that's the idea behind it. So, and then it has the teeth inside. That's so. I mean, there's a lot of people that are inspired by this movie, and you can see its fingerprints over a lot of movies over the years.
Did you see the? Have you seen the remake? I haven't seen it.
2011.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's a remake as much as
it's a prequel. Right? It's a prequel. Yeah. No, I've seen bits and pieces of it. I can't make it through it. It's really, really, really bad. Like I said, it's like on the same level of a Resident Evil type movie.
Gotcha.
And I can't make it through those movies either. And the special effects, I'm not sure what house worked on them, but they're just really bad.
Gotcha.
But there is a new remake in the works through Blumhouse, so we'll see what happens there. That was reported in August of 2020. So
It's funny I didn't see that in the news,
definitely.
Brandon.
I would. That's the first I've heard of it. Sorry. I'd definitely be interested to see this same script, or like a similar take on it, and with like a Lee Wynell or somebody that would use everything that's come before him, everything that like I'm saying, just like a really refined version of it.
Yeah, as long as they don't put like shaky children in the corner, and use jump scares. I don't like jump scares. Like, I go back to the
shaky children in the corner.
Well, like there's a lot of
Demon
movies.
possessed.
Most of those movies, like since The Ring, they just have kids that do this in the corner and and have the loud noises to make. And so you were saying the music and stuff. I don't like for music to make my emotion in a movie personally. I like good scores, but I don't want I want a good movie to make my emotion or to bring the emotion out of me. And so, like, I will say that for The Invisible Man, Lee Wynell. I'll say that he and I said this when we reviewed it, is that he did it the quiet way. He didn't have. I think he had one jump scare, but it was a quasi jump scare. I can't remember most of that movie, but I think he did it well as far as the technical side of it and the storytelling side of it.
You can do jump scares tastefully, though.
But I don't like. I think they're cheap, and I don't like for like the It movies, the recent It movies. Those movies.
Those don't have any jump scares in them.
What?
They just
Every
have
time
the
clown comes on, it's a jump scare.
It's not
they have
really
the
a jump scare. It just like rumbles at the camera.
But they have loud noises, and then that pops up, and that's just jump scares. And so, it's just those movies. Everything with the kids is really good, and then the clown gets in there and just kind of like muddies it, and I don't like that. And
I definitely won't disagree with you on it in that regard. I just think that, and maybe it's just a personal thing for you where you just don't like jump scares, and that's cool. I just think there's a way to.
I don't like them.
Do it.
I mean, but also I don't think that movie's scary either, and a lot of people do find it scary.
Either.
A lot of people find it terrifying, and but
I mean, it's just the clown. Like, probably if you think clowns are scary, it's
and a lot of people do have that phobia. But anyway, not to get off subject too much, but I personally think that let's just go into the cast here. So,
hold on, I'm curious about this.
Yeah,
Brandon, what's your take on jump scares in movies?
I mean, I don't really have an opinion one way or the other. I mean, I like tension. And again, this is not my genre, so it's not something that I watch a lot. But I prefer a tense movie versus like gore and horror and stuff like that. That doesn't really affect me. Like,
I agree. Same boat there.
More of a suspense thriller. Is like
what was that line from Friends where they were like talking to Chandler about not crying at movies? And they were like, "You didn't cry at Bambi?" He's like, "I didn't cry when they stopped drawing the deer." That's how I feel about most horror movies. Like, I know that there's not some mass maniac that burned up in a fire with claws for a hand killing people,
It still can be a virile reaction, though. Like, even in Invisible Man, like the scene where she's like coming out of the attic and like sees him on the ladder, like that's a jump scare.
Mm-hmm. Or in Upgrade when he like breaks the guy's like like that kind of stuff is successful to me. But
yeah, it can be visceral for sure.
Just I don't know. But to answer your question as far as jump scares, I mean, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But as far as like, I think I know what Al's saying, that a lot of people rely on it.
Sure.
As like a gimmick, a lot. probably more often than not. But
I mean, you watch any like of the like modern like demonic possession type movies in the trailers, like it's all leading up to like one big like misdirection jump scare at the end or whatever.
Yeah, like that, like those movies that nobody, like 5 people go see in the theater, like Boy in the Wall or whatever it is.
it's a good one.
Yeah,
Well, it's got Naomi Watts in
Love
it.
The Boy in the Wall.
Boy, I think it's Boy in the Wall. Anyway, and The Conjuring, those movies are garbage to me, and so many people like them. I'm like, movies are so poorly made. Like they're just.
First one's all right.
I called it
Second
the
one,
boring. It was so boring, but
It's a well, I mean that's a.
but
those
I don't
type movies are
believe in
very
I don't
much
believe in ghosts or anything personally. I don't believe that.
You don't have to.
But I'm just
like-
saying, like I can't lose myself in. There's a ghost in the house and the
Brandon,
table.
what are you laughing about?
This conversation. I don't believe in ghosts personally. You don't have to. It's like
Yeah. But anyway, so
call it the boring.
That's a good one,
so
Alex.
Thanks. Shh. So let's talk about the cast. Kurt Russell. We all, I think, love. I think across the board, Kurt Russell. I don't. One thing I love about Kurt Russell is when he yells at somebody. I don't know what it is about his voice, but it's instant comedy for me. It's. I just find it hilarious. He's got like some kind of cadence or something to his yell, and it just makes me laugh. It could be the most serious scene ever, but I'm still laughing. So, but I think he's great. I think he is an actor. He owns the screen when he's on the screen. So, let us know if you want us to do an entire show dedicated to Kurt Russell and his hair. So,
Is that what you're?
Brandon, did you just try to flip back your hair?
You just inceptioned him.
Yeah.
I saw something in the
Flip back his
IMDb
eyebrows.
trivia about Kurt Russell. I think it said that he grew his hair and beard for a year or something like that for this movie.
Wow.
Maybe it was a little less than a year, but yeah.
Wow, impressive dedication right there.
I'm not sure the beard's impressive for a
it's
year.
admirable for me. I mean, anything
Because
pretty
you're bald.
impressive.
Is that what you're getting
Follically
at?
challenged. Yeah.
It is what I'm getting at, Ryan.
Congratulations, Brandon.
So, have you guys had much experience watching movies with Wilford Brimley? Have you guys seen many things with Wilford Brimley in them?
Yes, I saw him in this movie.
Okay. And the diabetes commercials back in the day?
Is that who that is?
Yeah.
The diabetes.
So it's weird seeing him without the mustache. Have you ever seen Wilford Brimley with a mustache?
The only other person I recognized in this movie was the guy.
T.K. Carter?
I don't know if that's his name, but he was.
It's the guy I recognized was the short-tempered black dude.
Canceled.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking
I was
about?
gonna. Yeah.
He's in like
He was
Okay.
the Arbiter in Halo, and he was like.
Yeah, you're talking about T.K.
I
Carter.
think he was
I'm pretty
in
sure.
Barbershop.
Barbershop.
Chronicles of Riddick. Yeah,
I've never seen Barbershop, so I don't know.
Pretty
Pitch
sure he was
Black.
in
Yeah,
Barbershop.
yep.
He was like trying to get like by their barbershops. I can't remember. It's been so long since I've seen that.
He's
He's
Pitch
also
Black
in They
right now.
Live, guys. I'm just putting it out there. So it's
And Pitch Black.
T.K. Carter Knowles, the guy that's left at the end with.
Yeah.
Yeah, he like disappears for a minute and then comes
Yeah.
back, and he and
So that's
Russell.
T.K. Carter. Okay. So I love that guy. I think he's fantastic. Has one of the best
Got a-
voices
Yeah, I was
ever.
gonna say most identifiable voice.
He narrated the Bible series a few years ago, and I was like, please narrate the whole Bible. I'll be okay with this. This is fantastic. Love that guy. I think he's a good actor, and he has got one of the best sneers, like like his face. But
Like what
he's
else?
in They Live as well, and has the longest fight scene of that like.
Get it, Brandon, or get it out. I'm not gonna watch They Live.
It's fantastic. Coming to a CiNEMACHiNE near you. But anyway, he's great in that movie as well. But he's just been around. He's just one of those actors that has been around, and when you see him, you're like, oh, that guy's in everything, you know. So he's a really, really good actor, I think, and I think he steals the show in most movies that he's in too. It's hard to steal the show next to Kurt Russell, but I think he is a strong suit in most movies that he's in. So, but you had so the guy that played I think it was Dennis Clement Palmer. He's the one with the beard. Looks just like Seth Rogen. Did you guys? The guy that was with the dog
guy
in the beginning.
The guy who changes.
I recognized him from other things.
Yeah, he's in a lot of.
Changes.
He's in a lot of 80s, 90s movies.
I think he was in My Girl.
I think you're right, but I can't remember off the top of my head. I think you're right, though. I think he was the dad, or the friend of the dad, or something like that. I can't remember. I haven't seen that movie in forever. But no, he's in a lot of movies, and it is so weird. I'm sorry, Richard Mauser. He looks like Seth Rogen in this movie. He rather Seth Rogen looks like him because came first. But
sure.
So it was so weird to watch this movie and be like, and I've seen this guy in quite a few movies from the 80s, 90s, and I'm sitting there referencing Seth Rogen during the whole movie. So it was kind of funny to watch with that in the back of my mind. But I thought the cast was really good. The old man with the eyebrows, the doctor. I'm not the doctor, but the guy that kept trying to shoot everybody. That's campy when you break out a window to shoot somebody in the beginning of the movie. Like, I thought that. I mean, that's campy and stuff. But so I can afford that. But
the Norwegian or whoever the other group was that was shooting the dog or trying to shoot the dog, worse than Stormtrooper. Like, no muzzle flash either. Come on, guys.
Yeah, but no, I thought Wilford Brimley was really good in this movie. He sadly passed away this past August with complications from diabetes. But he was 85 years old, so lived a great life. And he's in a lot of movies, but I've never seen him without a mustache. So it's very weird seeing him in anything without a mustache. So it's a little off because he had this real like prominent mustache. Like he was kind of known for, the guy with the mustache, you know, in the Quaker Oats commercials and the diabetes stuff. So I liked him in this movie a lot. And I thought that they did a good job of hiding that he was infected for the most part of the movie. No?
Yeah. I mean,
should we just move on to the wrap up? It's like you guys are awesome.
I wish there was more of an indication of at what point people were turning, and like, because that guy, the guy you're talking about, was they kind of quarantined him in there in that room after he went crazy, but then he was like telling him to watch out for Clark. But then the next thing you know, he's like MIA. So I don't know. It's like it's not very defined that.
That was done on purpose. No, it was. It was done on purpose.
Brandon's trying to relate to you right now.
No, I mean, I'm just saying that was a choice. I'm not shooting you down. I'm just saying that was done on purpose. That was a choice of John Carpenter. like the things like I was saying earlier, like he deliberately made the silhouette of the person.
But was it
look
done on
different.
purpose as just from his point, like John Carpenter's point of view, or was the character misdirecting the alien inside him or whatever it is?
I
Or
think both.
Is he even like? Since I don't understand, like, at what point it seemed like like. At first, I thought
they were all afraid of it, of the fact that it was in them, so that it leads you to wonder whether like they even know.
Well, when they first start talking about it, it seemed like it was mimicking beings. So I thought it was like a shapeshifter type thing, like it would kill one thing, but then it would like take that person's form, like a T-1000 type, scenario.
No, it wasn't. Wasn't.
But that's what to me they implied that it could. It like when they said that it was the human one that they found, I guess, like it didn't quite get to the metamorphosis of the full. I don't know. I just thought that's why I was thinking that was the scenario. So,
well,
I just
the scene that I like, that I think is one of the coolest looking scenes as far as just the craft of everything, was when Kurt Russell went over to the other base, and they go in and they see the guy has throat slashed and wrists slashed up and everything, and his blood is pouring everywhere, but it's frozen. I thought that was fantastic. I thought that was so well done. It looked pretty realistic.
Al's iPhone wallpaper.
It is now. But anyway, I thought that was great. I thought that there were a lot of really cool things, but I think they kept you off the scent of the person
really,
that was infected.
I don't know if it's keeping you off the scent as much as like they didn't give you a scent like at all.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah,
just kinda
but
like-
yeah, and he did that because he wanted you to feel like you were in the room, like, because they didn't even know themselves if they themselves were infected. You remember the blood scene where they're doing with the hot wire and they're testing the blood, and the people are like,
That's what I'm saying. Like,
oh God, he's
so
going to test
how
my
did it-
blood.
Is it confirmed whether like the person whoever's infected knows that they're infected, or once that transformation happens, is it
So
like they're just?
I think, this is just me speaking, this isn't anything I've read, I think that they do know, but I think that the creature is so good at hiding it that the other people are like, okay, am I infected? So speaking of infection, one thing that we have to put into perspective is that right before this movie came out, like a year, maybe 2 years, the AIDS epidemic was really big. So people were scared of AIDS. They didn't understand AIDS, similar to how we don't understand COVID, and we're still getting an understanding of it and things of that nature. So I think this movie plays into today even more, because these people are scared and they're turning on each other because they don't know if they're infected or if they've already been infected or whatever the case may be. So this movie was also had the AIDS epidemic in mind as well with all of that. But then you look at like today and how, and I'm not going to get political. I don't want to go political, but just, all the things going on with COVID and how people are scared or not scared or whatever the case may be. And they don't know if they have it, but they're out here, this, that, and the other. So I think it's kind of fun to watch it through that prism as well, because you're watching these people turn on each other, but also have to depend on each other at the same time. So I thought that was pretty great. But I think that they do know
me how they like kept splitting up. It's like,
yeah,
dang it, stay together. What are you doing?
yeah, and then they had to, when they did split up and they found McCready's jacket all ripped up and everything. So obviously somebody did know that they were infected, so they went and messed up his coat, his jacket, to make it look like he was infected because he was the leader leading people away from them. You know what I mean? So I do think people know they're infected, but I think that, like I said, good at keeping it under wraps. So
Yeah, that's a good point. I guess that does confirm that they did know the jacket thing.
heard it here first, people. Al made a good point. Brandon will lobby. Al's never made a good point. But no, I appreciate that part of the movie. So I appreciate that idea of the movie and keeps you guessing and things of that nature.
I appreciate that, Ryan.
Thanks somebody for saying I was right about something.
We could use a little more of that around here.
Yeah, this be a well-oiled machine if people respected me. So
I don't get no respect.
guys, you got anything else to say about this, or y'all want to go and get on the wrap up and talk about some Halloween movies?
I think we should decide.
Wrap that
whether
gavel
we're
up,
gonna
B.
Ship it, buy it, skip it, drop
All
it,
right.
twist it.
So Brandon, you'll buy it. Ryan, what's your choice? No, Brandon. What would you do? Would you buy it, skip it, give it to everybody for Christmas? What would you do? I think this is a good movie for you to give your brother and your dad for Christmas.
Okay. I don't
Hang
know.
on, before you answer. Before you
Don't hurt
answer.
his feelings, Brandon.
Hang on. No, it's fine. Say whatever you want to say. But before you say anything, did Melissa have any opinion? Did she even look up from her phone? Did she fall asleep? What
No,
was
I was being facetious when I said she was going to be on her phone. She watched
Okay.
it, the whole thing.
and what'd she think?
We just kind of riffed on it the entire time just to kind of make it through it, to be honest with you. We just kind of made fun of it.
Okay. All right. That's perfectly fine. That's what.
Now it comes out.
That's perfectly fine.
I don't think you need to see it. Not at this point. Skip it.
If it's not made in the last 5 years, don't watch it. All right, Ryan. Go ahead.
Ouch. So this is one of those where
I'll separate movie collector from
common movie viewer, goer, whatever. I already own this movie. And if you do collect movies and, you're into that kind of genre, I know Brandon's not a huge thriller, horror film fan, whatever you want to call it. It's worth owning and just kind of as a collector's thing. And I'm sure Al would watch it more than most people would watch it. But if you don't collect movies, this would just be a stream it or, however, rent it option for me.
How many icons are you gonna have below your name right now? It's like,
let's call it.
I bought it, but you should rent it or watch it or skip it, whichever.
Yeah, whatever icon we're using for renting, streaming, that's what I'll
You
go
be
with.
you. What the kids
Final
say.
answer.
What was your final answer? Because what?
You're talking while I was talking, Al.
I'm just trying to make it interesting.
Stream it, rent it, whatever we're using for that.
Oh my God. I'm gonna put this guy again.
Is it an R? We use an R.
Okay. All right. So you think people should see it, is what you're saying?
Jeez. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I don't think everybody will like this movie. I knew Brandon wouldn't like this movie, because I know Brandon isn't into this genre of movie. It's not because of anything else. I know this isn't Brandon's.
I like Alien. I think it's pretty in line with an Alien type movie.
Yeah, it is. You're right.
But
Brandon,
but
it didn't
it's
come out
just-
in the last 5 years. Go ahead.
Sorry, Al. I didn't ask permission to speak. You go ahead.
No, I'm letting you speak. Ryan interrupt you. Go ahead. I agree with you on the Alien thing.
I'm just saying I like movies that are in this genre, but this one didn't work for me.
Well, I'm saying, so when I said that, I meant that you're not a big people do categorize this as a horror movie. I don't think you're the biggest horror movie person in the world. Like, you don't prefer that genre, right?
It's not my go-to genre.
Yeah. So, I've just never known you to watch a lot of horror movies, is my point. But I do think that people should watch this movie. I don't think you should run out and buy it necessarily, but I do think you should watch it. I bought it because I love it. I bought, actually, so you know how I own so many copies of The Shining? Because I can't figure out what set I like, the box, the artwork and everything. I own the Arrow special edition, and I own the regular Blu-ray of this movie because Arrow put out a really nice one. So if you are going to buy it, buy the Arrow special edition of this movie. Really good cover art, really good transfer. So
Hey,
it's
Al.
really well done.
Al, how many icons you gonna put at the bottom of your video there?
37. You're welcome. And now I got to do that. I got to put 37 of those stupid things. So backfired on me.
That go the way you expected it to go?
No. So it looks like my freckles exploded on the screen. So anyway. Well, guys, I want to say thanks for being good sports about watching the thing. I can handle your true opinions of the movie. There's absolutely no hatred between any of us because we don't like each other's movies. I want everybody to know that. So, but I do think everybody should watch it.
That's for yourself.
Right. But everybody, that's our review of The Thing. And now we're going to put our movies up for voting for what we watch next week. And we have a special deal coming up in November. Brandon, what are we calling our November special theme?
We're just calling it a 90s throwback episode.
90s throwback. So basically
Series.
what we're going to do
That's multiple
is we're going to
episodes.
choose a genre.
90s throwback series. Apologies.
Yeah. November
We've got
90s
all
throwback
this ironed out
series,
really well beforehand.
nostalgia extravaganza.
Established 2020. 90s
Brandon, you got those
series.
graphics?
So, so we're going to
Palooza.
choose a different genre every week for the month of November. And we're each going to put up a movie from that particular genre from any year in the 90s. It has to be encapsulated in the 90s. So this week's genre is sci-fi / fantasy, right? Yep. So let's go with Brandon. Brandon, what is your sci-fi movie of choice from the 90s?
My nomination is one of my favorite movies in the entire world, and that is Terminator 2 Judgment Day.
I thought you were going to do The Matrix. I just knew you were going to do The Matrix. I was very nervous. I can breathe easy. Brandon, I might vote for yours this week. I'm just going to put it out there. I like Terminator 2. It's a great movie. Ryan, what movie did you put up there for sci-fi?
What was that movie you were just mentioning a few minutes ago?
Terminator
that
2?
You didn't want to watch.
Terminator.
No, the one you didn't really want to.
Didn't want to watch? Total Recall. Total Recall.
No, The Matrix. You just said. You know what? That joke just fell real flat.
Did I put that in?
Matrix.
No.
Why? Can we just
The
edit
Matrix.
this out
Ryan
and
is
change?
choosing The Matrix.
I'm gonna change it. I'm gonna change it. I'm just gonna.
No,
I'm gonna mouth
he's
your
choosing
words
The Matrix.
when I'm editing.
The Matrix.
Total Recall.
So- Remember that old the orange or whatever would have the mouth moving and
Yeah.
stuff. I'm just gonna do that to yours. So
Keeps adding more stuff for him to do in post.
Matrix.
Yeah.
This is why our episodes take
This
so long.
episode will be coming out in 2022.
we recorded this in July, so it takes this long to edit an episode. Not really. My movie of choice. I'm gonna put it out there because it's a polarizing movie. This movie was the most expensive movie of all time as far as budget goes at the time. It bombed, but has grown legs over the years. I'm gonna
Like The Thing.
I'm gonna put out Waterworld. The old Costner. Not a big Costner fan, but he was in some major movies. I went and saw a lot of Costner movies with my grandfather.
Field of Dreams.
Yeah, Robin Hood.
Dances with Wolves.
Dances with Wolves. Yeah, that's.
Postman.
I do like that movie. So, guys and gals, Ryan, do you want to tell them where they can go and vote?
Yep. If you're watching on YouTube, down in the comments, and on social at CiNEMACHiNE. So we love chatting movies. So hit us up.
I'm gonna pull for my movie, but I really might vote for Brandon's this week. 'Cause I really want to watch Terminator 2 again. So, all right, guys and gals.
Love a good Keanu Reeves flick.
That's why I don't want to watch The Matrix. I like good Keanu Reeves flicks. So we'll see you in the wrap up, where we're going to talk exclusively this week about our favorite or Halloween movies that we suggest that you watch during the season of Halloween. So we'll see you in the wrap up. All right, we are back and we are in the wrap up. And this week we are exclusively talking about suggestions for the Halloween season. So these are movies that we like and we think that you guys should take into Halloween with you. So if you have a review of any of these movies, please let us know in the comments or on our social media or whatever have you. Ryan will let us know all of that here at the end, so stay tuned to find out how you can do that. So, Brandon, what is your first... Actually, we're going to go with Ryan because I want Brandon first on the other. So, Ryan, what's your suggestion
That's so thoughtful.
on Halloween first?
Well, the first thing that I will comment on is a movie that Brandon also watched this week.
Mm-hmm.
The Witches. It's a new... the movie's a remake, isn't it? In addition to being a book.
Is this the Zemeckis?
Right. It's a remake of...
Yeah, so... Go ahead, Brandon.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't remember the year that the original came out, but it's in the... I think it was in the either the late 80s or early 90s.
I think it was like 94.
Yeah. Gotcha. Yeah. Angelica Houston is in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this one came out on HBO Max.
Oh, guys, it came out in 1990.
There you go. I guess, what, a week ago now? Last weekend?
Last Thursday.
Yeah. And
Directed by
I don't
Robert
know.
Zemeckis.
Yeah, I don't know what I was... Yeah, sorry. Anne Hathaway's in it. Who else is in it? Anybody?
It's got...
I recognize the... what's her name?
Octavia Spencer,
Spencer,
Stanley Tucci.
Yeah, Stanley Tucci. That's really the main...
It's pretty
It's
much...
Chris Rock does a voiceover in it.
Mm-hmm.
Kristen Chenoweth.
Yeah.
Was she in it?
That one was... Yeah, it was... She
Who
was
was
the
she?
voice for the... She was the voice for the other rat or mouse.
Okay.
I didn't see this movie, and I know.
So I won't...
You're reading
I don't want to
something.
spoil it because... I don't want to spoil it because in case you guys haven't seen it, but I was kind of going into this expecting for it to be a kids movie, but not being a kids movie to the extent like that it was. It was just very I don't know, elementary school, I guess, to me. I don't know. You kind of seemed surprised when I brought that up to you, Brandon. You seemed kind of surprised.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's based on a children's book, like a legit children's book.
I thought you were saying that Brandon was like, this wasn't a children's movie, it's very adult. That's what you were saying. No, man, this stuff was grown up.
You guys want to see a scary movie? Forget the thing.
I'm terrified. Melissa had to hold
when
me.
I was a kid. The original, I was really terrified of. They had some really good.
How'd this one hold up to, or how they compare?
Well, I mean, I haven't seen that original one since I was a kid. But I mean, I enjoyed this one, but I also watched it through the eyes of my daughter, so we watched it together.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's super serviceable. I thought that it was, I mean, Anne Hathaway's chewing up the scenery really, really hard in this one. I thought Octavia Spencer was good. I thought the kid, I don't know his name, but her grandson was pretty solid for a young child actor. Like, I hadn't seen him in anything else. But yeah, I mean, it's it's hammy. It's I think it's got like Zemeckis. It's got a lot of that like Polar Express vibe to it. Whimsical.
I was gonna ask you which was scarier, this or his
Beowulf.
Christmas.
Christmas Carol.
Yeah, Christmas Carol, because a lot of people think that's terrifying.
I actually never watched that.
I watched it. It's all right. I mean,
you heard it here first, everybody. Go watch it right now. Die.
but I mean, I thought it was solid. It's not one that I would return to.
I think this is more of, I mean, it's a kid's movie, and Brandon can speak to this better than I can. I mean, did Luna enjoy it? Or
yeah. And she wasn't, like, super scared. Like, it wasn't necessarily scary to her.
How'd she handle, like, all the weird, like, transformation stuff and when they, turned into the witches?
She was, instead of her, like, gasping, it was more like, ew. Like,
gotcha.
Yeah. But that's another thing that I thought was, like, I wish they would have, like,
and another thing.
The like, mouth transformation, like, the split mouths. Yeah. It was a little liquidy. That makes any sense. Like, they use a liquefied tool on their mouth.
Right.
Like, it wasn't as... I wished it would have been more... Because they used... Obviously, in the 90s version, they did a practical... I think it was maybe animatronic. I'm not sure with the witch stuff. But...
Yeah.
Anyway. Yeah. This is your thing. You talk.
Fast forward to the end of the year. This is on Brandon's top 5. That's what I'm hearing.
It could be. It's been a very bad year for movies.
Yeah,
that's
true. Of the 3 movies that came out this year, this is in the top 5.
It was a solid movie. It wasn't a bad movie. It was well made. I mean, it's a kids movie. It's not like it's not something I would.
For me,
if you have kids and you have HBO, definitely check it out this time of year. I mean, it's a good little like weekend watch. It was fun to have something brand new to watch, downstairs, and especially.
And then once you do watch with your kids, sit down and let them listen to this episode of CiNEMACHiNE.
We promise.
Introduce them.
Yeah.
Learn them up.
Dad, can I watch The Thing?
Al, what do you want to recommend?
I want to recommend Videodrome. I can see by the blank stares on your faces that that you're excited about this one.
Let's keep it to a tight minute or two.
Videodrome is a David.
We're gonna give you the floor, Al. You got a minute. Go.
It's a David Cronenberg movie. So
and if you're not familiar with David Cronenberg, let's go through his filmography here.
Scanners, The Fly. Anywho, this movie is very strange. It's about it's from the 80s, so about these videotapes. People get these videotapes, and they basically I don't know how to explain it exactly without giving everything away, but it's
videotapes.
These videotapes, people get them, and they basically have mind control over them, and they make people kill people and like sadomasochist type stuff and things of that nature. So has Deborah Harry from the band Blondie and James Woods in this movie.
We're gonna do a things of that nature shirt for you. for CiNEMACHiNE.
and add and subtract. This movie, I know, is a great double feature with They Live. And so, but
But don't talk about The Vow again, Ryan and Brandon. Don't do it.
at least I'm talking about movies. So this is it's a great movie. I think everybody should watch it. It will make you uncomfortable, extremely uncomfortable. It's not exactly scary, but it's extremely tense, and it'll make you want to. Let's put it this way: either you will love this movie, or you will absolutely hate this movie, and hate me for suggesting it. So there's one way or the other. There's no middle ground on this movie.
Anything Al recommends.
So that's it. Videodrome came out right around Valentine's Day in 1983. So this movie's for lovers.
And just a few quick hits of what happened in 1983. One second.
Let me go on my diatribe of movies. No. So yeah, that's the first one I want to put out there.
All right. Well, I guess it's my turn. I am going to recommend a little gem from my childhood called Ernest Scared Stupid.
That's a great movie.
I love this movie. I haven't returned to it in a while. I need to show it. I need to show all the Ernest movies to Luna, actually. But I love this movie growing up. I love the Ernest movies just in general. And this movie was. I don't remember being scared watching it, but I just remember it being a really like fun Halloween movie to pop on every year.
You know what's a good double feature with that movie?
What's that?
They Live.
No, but that's always. I mean, that's just icing on every cake. Bill and Ted 2. Because when I was a kid, I got the stupid and the little creatures and Data. I'm sorry, not Data, but I got them mixed up. I always thought they were the same creature. So if you're watching with a kid, I don't know that Luna will like Bill and Ted, but they do complement each other really well. So go ahead.
Okay. Well, thanks for the recommendation.
Welcome. Just trying.
I really loved that movie. Loved Jim Varney. This movie came out in like 91. The little creature that is like, I can't remember what the creature is actually trying to get, but I know that they like milk is like its weakness or something. But that was like, I remember there being a big like fort battle towards the end. Like all the kids like get in the fort and they're like battling this troll thing.
So did you know the same director directed all of the major Ernest movies?
Really? That would make sense.
John Cherry the third.
Love him.
Mm-hmm.
He's a good one. But yeah, I don't have a lot to say about it, but I just loved that movie when I was a kid. And
if you had to guess the budget of Ernest Scared Stupid, what would you say you think the budget would be after just thinking about that movie?
Let's say.
And remember, it came out in 1991.
200,000.
No, Ryan, you've never seen this, have you? Okay, $9.6 million.
Wow.
I do not see that money on the screen. Those practical effects must have cost a lot of money. So yeah, no, I love that movie too. That's a great movie. Great suggestion. I highly suggest people go watch all the Ernest. The first at least 4 or 5 Ernest movies. I'm not going to say Ernest Goes to School and Africa and all that stuff.
Yeah, Ernest Saves Christmas, Ernest Scared Stupid, Ernest Goes to Jail.
Ernest Goes to Camp.
Ernest Goes to Camp.
Yeah,
that's probably one of the better ones.
Yeah. And the funny thing is, when I was growing up, I don't know if here in Georgia it was this way, but in Alabama, the local power company, Ernest was the spokesperson, and he'd get his hand stuck in the window. And hey Vern, close your windows and all that stuff. So I thought he was a local guy. I just thought he was some local guy that had movies. Just totally blew my mind. So
Gone too soon.
very much so. He's very funny in Beverly Hillbillies. So
And
anyway,
he plays a real nice slinky dog.
yeah, he's very good in that too. Ryan, what is next on your list?
I'm gonna slide a little Halloween recommendation in real quick. I won't talk about it because we kind of talked about it earlier, but that's my favorite all-time movie.
Which one, the new one or the old one, or when they resurrected it with Rob Zombie, or when
The original, not the Rob Zombie one.
they had
specifically.
part 2, but it doesn't
Season of the
exist
Witch.
anymore because of the newest one that's
All right,
gonna
so
take.
if you're gonna watch them and you want the quality of, you want the
It's
two
more
best
messed up
quality
than
ones,
George Lucas
it's
movies.
the first and the last one. And there's really well made, and I'm sure it is partially nostalgia for me, just because I watched them when I was really young. But I'll move on to The Silence of the Lambs, and I
Okay.
know Al has seen it.
Love it.
Brandon, you've not, right?
Meg.
This movie is
I used to
in
have it
my
on
opinion-
Criterion.
Until
Gave it back.
after you let somebody borrow a movie for like 5 months, and they're just like, "No, I haven't seen it yet." I'm like, "Just give it back." I'm offended now.
He's like, hey,
You can borrow it anytime you want to,
Um,
Brandon.
Thanks.
anytime you want to.
Anytime.
This movie just it holds up so well. I watched it recently with Katie.
Mhm.
She had never seen it,
And Katie is.
she
Asleep.
is the woman I am married to. Yeah, probably.
Brandon is jealous.
Yeah, she's usually not into these type of movies, as you guys have kind of gathered.
Mhm.
She just doesn't like. She kind of watches movies and TV shows to escape from things, so she can't handle a lot of the like thriller, tense, suspense type stuff. But for whatever reason, this one just resonated with her, and I think that speaks to how well it's aged. Al, you're a
That movie's-
fan, I take it.
Oh, that movie's fantastic.
Okay.
That movie swept the Oscars that year.
Did it really?
Yeah, it's one of the only, like, I think there's only 2 or 3 movies that have done that, and it swept every major category that year. It was, but
The
deservingly so.
acting and writing in this movie it's amazing.
It's so good, and the tension building is second
yeah.
to none. It's so good, and the thing is you could have watched this movie. We don't want to spoil it because many of you haven't seen it, but also Brandon hasn't seen it. But you could watch this movie a week later, watch it again, and still be just as tense because the performances are that freaking
The
good.
music goes a long way with this one too.
Yeah, and it
Joe,
and the transfer on Criterion. Oh, fantastic.
You lost me.
Did y'all watch the sequels that they put out?
I did.
Red
Well,
Dragon
I watched
and
the
Hannibal
other, Hopkins ones.
Yeah.
Manhunter.
Did you ever watch
No.
the one before Sleepless? Sleepless in the Lambs.
Seattle.
Silence of the Lambs. Did you ever watch the prequel? I mean, it's not prequel, but it was just the first movie. It wasn't Anthony Hopkins.
No.
I think it was like Brian Johnson. I
Like,
can't remember.
It was older?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so here's a funny
No.
story about that. My uncle, whom I look up to quite a bit, told my aunt told me this story. My aunt was out of town, and he read the Silence of the Lamb book, and one of the books because they had a couple, and he had to sleep with all the lights on and everything. The book scared him that bad, so. One of the funniest
great.
things, like you're just like, really, a book, huh?
Yeah.
So- but no, I get it. But no,
Guess
this
that
movie is
speaks
very
to the
good.
book.
Yeah, and of course this movie is super quotable. Brandon hadn't even seen it, and he already knows some of the quotes, I'm sure.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, this movie is just
It's not
superbly
one,
done.
It is. It's definitely not one that you want to
Watch with
watch
Luna.
alone. Yeah,
You don't want to watch it with Luna. This is not right up there with Witches. But here's the thing. I will say this. I think if Brandon watched this with Melissa, I think they both would give it glowing reviews.
Oh, I agree.
As many crime documentaries as you guys watch, like the hey, that psychopath killed somebody documentaries and stuff like that, you guys, I honestly believe that I'll even put it this way. If you guys watch this movie and don't like it, I'll buy a movie of your choice. But you have to be honest.
I mean, you should let me borrow it, Al. And stop being so stingy.
I know, half a year, not good enough. So, Punch Drunk Love, still hadn't seen that, huh?
Can't figure out how to get that dust cover off.
I feel bad if I open your movie out. But no, I agree with you.
But
That's a great movie. All right, so let's go back
next. You were Brandon.
Let's go back to Brandon. Go back to Brandon for a minute. Brandon, what's next on your list?
Okay. My next recommendation would be Beetlejuice.
Oh, classic.
Tim Burton, 1988 movie. Michael Keaton.
Yep.
Gina Davis. Alec Baldwin.
Winona Ryder.
Al's heartthrob. Yeah, I love that movie. I watched it not too recently with Al. He fell asleep again. But it was good. It's a good rewatch. I hadn't watched it in maybe 10 years or so. I'd bought it on Blu-ray when it first came out and I'd never even opened it. And then I was listening to some people talk about it on a podcast. I was like, man, I need to watch this again. So we watched it.
So hey, let's go back to the Al fell asleep thing because we say this every week. So let's just give some insight to this. Brandon lives out there, number one, so it takes a while to get out there. So hey, it's like, hey, I'm going to hang out with my buddy.
Ralston?
I go out there, hang out with my buddy. Then it takes us about
working in Hartwell during this stint, but go ahead.
Takes us about 7.5 hours to choose a movie. Like seriously, we're well, and it's both our fault because we're both like, I don't know, maybe that movie, that movie is that's a good movie. I don't know, I kind of feel like comedy, and then, well, let's see something we haven't seen. Okay, so we'll go down the list, and then let's see something we have seen, and just it is the biggest nightmare for Brandon. So we try to start whenever, and like I said, we're both guilty. I'm probably more so guilty. But we try to start the conversation. If we know we're going to hang out and watch a movie, we try to start the conversation earlier in the day before we even see each other. Like, let's start throwing ideas out there. So, and then it's just, it's comfy in that
Al
joint.
falls asleep.
It's comfy in there.
So you're telling me after
But
But-
that story is you're telling me his chairs.
I don't fall asleep, but it sounds like I fall asleep during every movie, but I don't. There are plenty of movies I haven't fallen asleep for.
Brandon, your eyes say differently. Go ahead, Brandon. Tell us.
We watched The Shining late
Tell
at
him,
night.
McClinsky.
I didn't fall asleep during that.
Yeah, I've been on this podcast on record saying there's probably maybe 5 movies out of, I don't know, 20 something that we've watched in there that you've made it through without falling asleep.
Yeah. Maybe.
It's okay.
Maybe. But but we have to admit, some of them
All of them came out in the last 5 years. So
weren't the best of movies. We were both taking a shot in the dark. Like we were like, well, let's see if we like this movie or whatever. It's not something we had seen before.
No,
So
I mean, even like, well, this one was one of them. Like Hateful Eight. Like there's a lot of good ones.
Hateful Eight is like that warm blanket to me. I think that movie's so fantastic. It's so comfortable. I've seen
Inglourious
it.
Bastards.
Again, warm blanket. That movie's great. Just, it's like,
Anyway,
Give me a
we're
bottle of
talking
it.
Halloween.
that movie's great. I fall asleep every time.
no, it's just comforting to me. That movie's so good. It's like, I've seen it.
Anyway,
Nothing
quite a
like
few times.
bashing
Anyway.
skulls to lull you to sleep.
I think it's fantastic. Anyway, go ahead, Brandon.
no, I was just gonna say Beetlejuice. I love that movie, and it's Tim Burton probably at his best for me.
It is quirkiest, yeah. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
And the art
Michael
design.
Keaton is amazing. Catherine O'Hara is great in it.
Yeah.
It's
And
just
old
got so much-
creepy.
yeah.
The guy
it's just,
from Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Yeah, one of these guys got in some controversy later on.
That was him. The guy
okay.
from yeah.
Yeah. No,
Alec
it's
Baldwin,
great.
skinny Alec Baldwin.
Yep, skinny Alec Baldwin. Definitely. I mean,
Oh yeah, he is in that.
The before picture.
yep. He. But yeah, it's. I don't know. There's just so many cool things about it. The little model that Beetlejuice lives in. It's like,
Mhm.
Yeah.
you know, I used to love like the like it's, you can feel this, like the textures on the fake grass that he's like digging up.
Yeah, the foam.
Yeah.
It just, everything feels so tangible, and all the creature design and the monuments that come to life, and the sandworms, and the iconic dinner party scene is great. Like there's just so much. I mean, and then like Winona Ryder, you know, dancing on the like the stairwell or whatever, and with the football players and stuff. It's like, I don't know. It's just it's classic, and it's
One of my favorite things, and it's such a throwaway thing, but the guy that's super thin and flies between the walls.
yeah.
Like, I just thought, and
Yeah.
the shrinking head and all that stuff. But
Yeah.
yeah, that movie is just so iconic visually. It's so quotable. Shoot, man, I want to go watch it right now. So thanks for bringing that
That's
one
a
up.
great one. Yeah.
That is a great one.
You should probably
So-
get near bedtime. You should probably put it in.
I won't fall asleep if I'm not around you. Seriously, I stay up till like 2:00 every other night. Friend just bores me to death.
Ooh.
Just kidding around. I'm kidding around.
All right, you're next, Al. Go for it.
Right in line with that. So that was released in '88, you said?
Yep.
Well, the next year, Mr. Joe Dante released a movie. Joe Dante directed Gremlins 2. He Matinee with John Goodman, which is a fantastic movie, and so many other movies. He directed a movie that I love with Mr. Tom Hanks in it, The Burbs. Love this movie. Have you ever seen The Burbs, either of you? Okay, so this movie is 80s
You got a
quirk. This movie is 80s
Let's
quirk.
just go
Oh
ahead
yeah, I
and
forgot.
record this for
Not
future
released
use.
in the last 5 years. I got can't talk about it. Small Soldiers. Did you guys ever see Small Soldiers? Okay, so
Yeah.
he directed that as well. So but anyway, he this movie is so quirky. I saw this movie, so we had a dollar theater in my hometown when I was a kid, and my mom and my sisters would go watch whatever Kleenex movie, Cry Fest movie or whatever. And I would always want to go see movies by myself, so I would just go to a movie theater. So in 1989, I saw The Burbs probably a dozen times, and then I saw Batman '89 about 25 times in the theater. So I'm not allowed on that show. So
We'll save it for Capecast.
So anyway, the Burbs, they have some neighbors move in next door, and the neighborhood, everybody starts talking, and just all the hijinks go on. Everybody's trying to find out what's going on in the basement of their neighbors, and they think they're creepy and everything. It has Bruce Dern in this movie. I mean, Carrie Fisher is in this movie. This movie is just so good. As a matter of fact, I've just ordered the special edition Shout Factory edition, and it's got a bunch of extra extended scenes and things of that nature. So if you do like things like Beetlejuice, if you do like Tom Hanks, like quirky Tom Hanks movies are my favorite version of Tom Hanks. Like earlier on in the show, another episode rather, I talked about Joe versus the Volcano. This is in that same era of Tom Hanks, and I just think it's fantastic. This movie is campy. This movie is fantastic, and this movie is a cult classic, but it was popular at the time as well. So I highly suggest Burbs. It has Corey Feldman in it too, and he's a good like teenage next door neighbor, up to no good. So very, very, very funny movie. I do think that I don't remember there being any curse words in it, but don't take my word for it right now because I can't remember. So I don't know if you should. I think it's okay to watch with kids. I was a very young kid when I watched it, so
Saw how he turned out.
Hey, I got my own podcast. So anyway, Ryan, what's next on your list?
So gave you a couple throwback options. The last one I'll put up is Dr. Sleep.
Mm-hmm.
And this came out on digital not too long ago. And I know we've kind of talked about this movie between
Seems
three of
like
us.
we almost did a show about this.
Yeah. our the lost episode.
Yeah, the lost episode.
From what you
Subscribe
guys
to our
said,
Patreon. You can get it one day.
That ship has sailed.
I know you guys weren't huge on the rewatchability of this one, but I've seen it 3 times already.
I don't
My gosh.
think that was my opinion. I like
No,
that movie.
I don't know. Maybe it's just Al. But and
I like when my
actually
opinion
wanna
becomes
watch it
everybody
again.
else's opinion. I like that. That's the way it should be.
But it's a follow-up to The Shining. Just kind of a classic and a creative twist on that whole world. Ewan McGregor's in it, and they do a good job of recasting some of the older characters, and it's just really, really well written, and I enjoy the pacing of it.
Yeah.
This would be one that I think I could fall asleep to, Al.
After you see a
Nice.
movie
Good
so many
yarn.
times, you just know all the beats and it becomes comfortable.
Yeah. So yeah, that's my last one. Brandon?
Fantastic.
Well, I would also recommend that, Ryan. I enjoyed it. It's a good movie. And for
Thanks,
those
Brandon.
that didn't get to listen to our Dr. Sleep episode, we talked about it.
You'll never get to
We
listen
talked
to
about
it.
yeah, it's true. Well, that's kind of the point. I had seen The Shining for the first time 2 weeks prior to seeing Dr. Sleep, and really enjoyed both, honestly. And I did not grow up with them. They're just, that movie is good.
That's my point.
Imagine that.
But
Good
that
movies are good movies.
But when I use it for a movie that you like that I didn't, anyway.
I digress.
What else? Okay, so the other movie that I wanted to talk about was a movie that came out in 2004 and spawned many, many movies after. But what's crazy is, all right, so let me just say the movie. The movie is Saw. It's directed by what's his face from James Wan. Written by Lee Whannell, also starring Lee Whannell. I did not know that until I just pulled up the IMDb. I didn't realize that he was actually the lead guy in the movie.
If you watch in slow motion, you can see Brandon get excited about that.
No, I learned it a little bit earlier when I pulled up these IMDb pages. Anyway, how do you say is it Carrie Elwes from Princess Bride? How do you say his last name?
I've always known to say it Elwes,
Elwes.
but
He's
I
in
could
it.
be wrong.
He and Danny Glover both kind of came back into the limelight with this movie. Like, I feel like they had been gone for a while. I guess last thing I had seen him in, Carrie Elwes, was like Men in Tights, Robin Hood Men in Tights. And then Danny Glover was probably like, I don't know, Gone Fishing with Joe Pesci. The last thing I saw him in at that point. But no, this movie was, I loved this movie when it came out. I was in college. And just loved the suspense element to it. It was one of those, I guess you consider it a suspense horror type movie, but I loved the like game nature, and it spawned so many sequels. Every year after this, it came out on Halloween every year, it seemed. I'm pretty sure they just fast tracked a movie every single year, so it became like, we're going to see the new Saw movie for Halloween. It's like the thing that you did for the next like 5 years, at least me and some of my cousins. But
I'm gonna go ahead and drop a disclaimer in here.
Mhm.
I do not like these movies because I can't stand the gruesome element of it.
Really?
So if they're, I'm sure, like, I've seen the first one. I have not seen anything beyond that.
Yeah. I mean, the first one to me is there's still a gruesome element to it, but it's a little more sophisticated, if that's the right word to use. They just try to keep outdoing themselves in every additional installment.
Mm-hmm.
But
Just saying, if you're one of those people that's not, if that pushes your buttons, it's probably not the one for you. But like me,
I've seen about
warning,
20
guys.
minutes. 20 minutes of one of these movies.
You should watch the first one, because it actually is a good movie, and there's a great twist in it. It's got what's his name from Lost also in it. I can't remember his name. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't really recommend the other ones. After the second one was okay, but then they just kind of go downhill. But this one, I would highly recommend. Standalone Saw. I don't think I'll just say this. I had one more thing I wanted to talk about. I don't think you guys have anything else on your list, but we watched Paranorman last year for Halloween. I hadn't seen that since it came out. Paranorman is a Leica Studios stop animation movie, and it's set at Halloween. It's like a zombie type movie, but it's a lot of fun. And as you probably know already, that a lot of my recommendations or things I talk about are things that I watch with my family. It's just like, it's classic type, Halloween family movie, but it's just really fun. It's they've got some really interesting characters, good voice cast. It's got McLovin in it. I can't remember his real name, but it's got Casey Affleck in it. It's got what's the chick from like all those the singing movies? Pitch Perfect. What's her name? The lead girl.
Is it Anna?
Anna Kendrick.
Anna Kendrick. She's in it.
Yeah.
But anyway, Travis Knight is the guy that's behind all those movies. He's like the Nike,
The singing movies.
His dad owns part of Nike, and so he's just got, just money to throw into this stop animation studio, which I'm glad he does, because everything that they've put out is it's pretty solid. And even if the movies aren't like super acclaimed, you can at least appreciate them on that like stop animation level.
Sure.
Coraline, this one, I think this one was the second movie that they put out. Box Trolls, Kuba and the Two Strings, and then the most recent one, the Hugh Jackman one. Can't think of the name of that one, but yeah.
So you took like a hard left turn. You were in the middle of talking about Saw, and then you were like Paranorman family movies. So,
well, because you guys didn't have anything else on your list, but I had that one. I just wanted to kind of throw it out there for.
I have other things on my list. So I'll just throw out.
Here we go.
Thanks for tuning in, guys.
See why I have to fight so hard to get good movies on here. So
I wish you'd fight harder.
you haven't won. I've won twice. So
Ooh, fighting words.
Ooh. I don't think either of your wins were legit. We can talk about that.
I
Mine?
have to have a whole,
No.
how is it
Al's.
not legit when I
Oh.
Katie
campaign?
campaigned for Green Room and
Campaign.
mass texted everybody to vote for your last
You
movie.
do, you have had a couple of pushes that have helped you.
Yeah,
I don't
it's
even-
called
Hey,
campaigning. I didn't go in and cook the books. I don't tally the vote.
I tally it. It's
Right.
official.
I don't question when you win. So, anyway,
Maybe
just
you
saying.
should.
I don't. I trust. We're doing Trust Falls at the next CiNEMACHiNE retreat.
No, we're
So I'm
not.
going to throw in an honorable mention before I
This is
talk about
sounding
my
a lot
last
like
movie.
The Vow, am I right, Brandon?
Ugh. So, Mandy with Nicolas Cage, I think, get the kids out of the room. It's a great movie. It is messed up. It's Nicolas Cage at his Nicolas Cageiest. His wife gets kidnapped. His wife gets murdered. And he goes ham on everybody. Builds this huge axe and just goes ham. It's fantastic. Go check it out. The movie I think that everybody should see. This movie is fantastic. It's perfect for the Halloween season. It's funny. I recently watched it with my movie club. So big ups, as the kids say, to movie club folks. Tucker and Dale versus Evil. I got so excited to hit my microphone. Tucker and Dale versus Evil. Oh my gosh.
Wow.
I'm out of control. I think this movie is hilarious. I believe Brandon's seen it. Don't think Ryan has seen this. But this has Alan Tudyk. And
Alan got
I
you.
mean, this this movie. So, is it the funniest movie in the world? Absolutely not. But it really turns all the tropes of horror movies on their ear in a very funny way. These two redneck, if we want to call them, fellas have a vacation home they're going to fix up. They just want to go fishing and stuff, and these teenage kids see them at a gas station, and they're going to have, like, you know, fun college times in the woods, like most horror movies start. And you have all your tropey characters in there, and they think these rednecks are like mass murderers. They think that they're creepy and everything, and so a lot of hijinks happen. I don't want to give it away, but it is quite hilarious the way things go in this movie. Brandon, did you enjoy this movie?
Yeah, I like this movie a lot. It's really good.
Yeah. So, Brandon's
Good
stamp of
movie.
approval.
It was on Netflix forever, and now
Forever.
now that we're talking about it, it's not.
Yeah, I had to rent it, and I recently just went ahead and bit the bullet and just bought it because I was like, why not? So, but no, I highly suggest this movie. I honestly believe that you will thank us for this particular movie. It's one that you can watch every year. It's a good one to have in the stable for like a Halloween get together or whatever. So,
Indeed.
so folks, that's our Halloween picks. I believe that's all of them, right?
Hey.
I think so. We did it.
Under a century. All right. So, Ryan, you want to tell everybody how they can get in touch with us, how they can vote, all that stuff?
Yep. If you want to vote for which movie you want to see us review next week, Al, what's your pick?
Huh?
What's your pick?
What's my pick?
Yeah.
My pick is Waterworld.
All right, Brandon.
T2 Judgment Day.
And mine's The Matrix. You
Total
can drop your
Recall.
votes in
Yeah,
the
Total
comments,
Recall. That's right.
or at CiNEMACHiNE Pod on Instagram and Twitter, and we'll tally them up and pick the winner.
Fantastic.
There you go.
Well, everybody, we hope that you have a happy Halloween. Stay safe out there. Make sure you check the apples for razor blades and check all your candy for crazy stuff. But we will see you on the next CiNEMACHiNE.
Bye.
Bye.
Let's end it morbid. Check your apples for razor blades.